Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For Welland.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have two petitions to present today. The first being the I Can Donate, which it calls on this House to look at science and science only when it comes to donation of organs and not one's sexual orientation. The second petition is a petition on Lyme disease. It calls on the government to undertake a study of this disease, which seems to be now increasing, especially in my riding, Mr. Speaker, where we've seen a number of cases, and I've spoken to those young people, and it is young people that are affected. Clearly, we need to understand this disease better, and we need better testing, and we need better understanding of it, better treatments.
The Honourable Member for Winnipeg North.
Speaker, I have a very timely petition signed by residents of Winnipeg North regarding the Senate. Given what the Supreme Court has had to say, my constituents are asking that the Parliament or the Prime Minister look at ways to reform the Senate that would not require constitutional amendments. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, Member for Leeds-Grenville.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy to rise today to submit two petitions. The first one calls on the Government of Canada to refrain from making changes to the Seeds Act or the Plant Breeders' Rights Act. And the second one, Mr. Speaker, is from constituents in my riding who call on the government to support Bill C-560. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Member for Parkdale High Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present a petition on behalf of many of my constituents who are opposed to the cuts to Canada Post. They believe that Canada Post should not be raising prices while cutting service. It will disadvantage many people who today rely on door-to-door delivery, and they would like the Canada Post to reverse that decision. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Medicine Hat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to present three petitions, one on Bill C-18, another one on Canada Post, Mr. Speaker, and finally the third one requesting the House of Commons that fix the legislation so unelected bureaucrats could no longer control over weapons and firearms classifications. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for New Westminster Coquitlam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present a petition from thousands of Canadians who want the government to take measures to stop the global practice of shark finning and to ensure the responsible conservation management of sharks, and to call on the government to immediately legislate a ban on the importation of shark fins to Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Dartmouth Cole Harbour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am happy to present a petition on behalf of members of my constituency and many Nova Scotians beyond, including South Shore St. Margaret's. People calling on the Government of Canada to reject Bill C-23 and bring forward genuine electoral reform, which will stop fraud, prevent big money from distorting elections, and ensure every Canadian can exercise their right to vote.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to present two petitions. The first has signatures of over 5,000 Canadians, primarily from the Toronto area, calling on this government to do everything possible to request that our government reach out to the People's Republic of China to protect human rights, particularly those of Falun Gong and Falun Dafa practitioners. The second petition, Mr. Speaker, is from residents of my own riding, Saanich Gulf Islands primarily, although there's some names here from Gibsons, from Roberts Creek, and also Bolton, Ontario, but also Pender Island, Nain Island, Saturna, and Sydney within my riding, calling on this Parliament and this government to put in place a full and comprehensive plan to address the climate crisis, to bring down greenhouse gases by at least 80% below 1990 levels by 2050. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Deputy Pierre Fondelard.
The Honourable Member for Pierre Fondelard.
This petition calls upon the Government of Canada to change their policy on blood and organ donation in Canada. They ask that the sexual preferences of people not be an instant refusal of the right to donate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Surrey North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too rise, along with my colleague from Burnaby, New Westminster, to present a petition from Canadians who want the government to take measures to stop the global practice of shark fins and to ensure that responsible conservation and management of sharks. Call on the government to immediately legislate a ban on the importation of shark fins to Canada.
Presenting petitions, Présentation des pétitions. Questions on the order paper. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the following questions will be